Good morning, children. Today we will study the Civics. Lesson 1, the Union Legislature. In the earlier videos, we have studied about the introduction, the parliamentary form of government, the distribution of power between Union and State Legislature, the Union Parliament, the Lok Sabha and the formation of government. In this video, we will study about the Rajya Sabha, eligibility criteria for candidates, election process, functions of Parliament, legislative functions, financial control, assessments of cabinet, constitutional functions, judicial functions and elective functions. So let us begin with the Rajya Sabha. The Rajya Sabha in the Parliament, the Rajya Sabha is called the Upper House or Council of States. Members of Rajya Sabha are elected from the State Legislative Assembly. The President of our country nominates 12 members to the Rajya Sabha. The meeting of Rajya Sabha are presided by the Vice President of our country. The Rajya Sabha is a representation of the state. Eligibility criteria for candidates. To become a member of the Rajya Sabha, the candidate should be a citizen of India, at least 30 years of age and a registered voter. Election process of Rajya Sabha. The Constitution provides that the Rajya Sabha shall consist of 250 members, of which 12 members shall be nominated by the President from among this person having special knowledge or practical experience in respect of such matters as literature, science, art and social service. Election to the Rajya Sabha are indirect. Members representing states are elected by elected members of legislative assemblies of the state in accordance with the system of proportional representations by means of the single transferable vote. The Rajya Sabha is not subject to dissolution. 1/3 of its members retired every second year. Rajya Sabha at present has 245 seats. Of these, 233 members represent the states and the union territories and 12 members are nominated by the President. Legislative functions of Parliament. The basic function of Parliament is to make laws. All legislative proposals have to be brought in the form of bills before Parliament. A bill is a statute in draft and cannot become law until it has received the approval of both the Houses of Parliament and the assent of the President of India. The process of lawmaking begins with the introduction of a bill in either House of Parliament. A bill can be introduced either by a minister or a member other than a minister. In the former case, it is called a government bill, and in the later case, it is known as the private member's bill. A bill undergoes 3 readings in each house, that is, the Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha, before it is submitted to the President for assent. Financial control of Parliament. To combine both these functions in the same organization, is incompatible with the present constitutional setup of the country, under which the Parliament has been given the supreme power of control over national finance. The Parliament can exercise effective control over public finance only through an independent audit of the accounts kept by the executive. The accounts should therefore be maintained by spending departments, and they should be audited by an independent authority as is done in England. This audit department is separate and it has nothing to do with the accounting. Control and assessments of cabinet by Parliament. A Parliament system blends the legislative and the executive organs of the state in as much as the executive power is wielded by a group of members of the legislatures who command majority in the Lok Sabha. To be more specific, the government functions through various ministries under the charge of different ministers. The Parliament provides the ministers and holds them responsible to the elected representatives of the people. The ministers could be members of either of the two houses of the Parliament. Role of opposition. The opposition's main role is to question the government of the day and hold them accountable to the public. This also helps us to fix the mistake of the ruling party. They have to ensure that the government does not take any steps which might have negative effects on the people of the country. The role of the oppositions in the legislature is basically to check the excess of the ruling or dominant party and not to be totally antagonistic. In legislature, opposition party has a major role, which is constructions, criticism of government, putting restrictions of arbitrariness of ruling party, safeguard liberty and right of people, preparations to form government, expressions of public opinion. Constitutional functions of Parliament. Only Parliament is empowered to initiate any proposal for amendment of the Constitution. A bill for amendment can be initiated in either House of Parliament. However, the state legislatures can pass resolutions requesting the Parliament for the creation or abolitions of the Legislative Council in the state. There are three types of bills for Constitution amendment, which requires the first one, simple majority. These bills need to be passed by the simple majority. That is a majority of members present and voting in each of the house. Second one, the special majority. These bills need to be passed by the majority of the house and 2/3 of the members present and voting in each of the house. The third one, a special majority and consent of half of all the state legislatures. These bills are to be passed by the special majority in each house. Along with this, at least half of the state legislatures should give consent to the bill. Judicial functions of the Parliament. It has the power to empower the President, the Vice President, the Judge of the Supreme Court and the High Court. It can also punish its member or outsiders for the breach of privilege or its contempt. elective functions of the Parliament. Elected members of the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha constitute the Electoral College for the elections of the Vice President, along with elected members of the State Legislature. They form the Electoral College for elections to the office of the President. The elected members of the Parliament participate in the election of the President. All the members of the Parliament participate in the elections of the Vice President. The Lok Sabha elects a Speaker and Deputy Speaker. The Rajya Sabha elects its Deputy Chairman. Members of various parliamentary committees are also elected. Okay children, this was the last part of the lesson. I will advise you to go through the topics from your textbook thoroughly to get a better understanding of the lesson. Have a good day.